Here with reaction from the Trump Organization. Eric Trump is with us. You know, there hasn't been, well, first of all, in Iowa, there's never been a person that won by a larger margin than Bob Dole, which was 1988, and that margin, I think, was 12.8%. Your father won by 30 points in Iowa. Your father comes back and does something that hasn't been done since 1976. He wins Iowa, then goes on to win New Hampshire, and he wins it by double digits in a state, frankly, whose system of voting in primaries I don't like. I don't like open primaries. Republicans should elect Republican candidates, in my view. Democrats should elect Democratic candidates. You can't deny these are historic results for your father.
There's no question about that, Sean. Frankly, that's exactly why the mainstream media is so petrified of him. It's why they go on and, do the clips that you just showed right there. They're petrified of him. He won the largest margin ever in a primary in Iowa, as you just said, the largest margin ever in New Hampshire. He received the most votes in a primary ever in the history of New Hampshire. And by the way, he's beating Biden in every single national poll, many of them by 10, 11, 12, some 15%. The media is absolutely petrified. My father is the greatest guy in the world. He wants strong borders. He wants a great economy. He wants a strong military. He doesn't want to see this country go into World War III. He's sick and tired of the games. He's sick and tired of the nonsense. And I think the enthusiasm, Sean, that we're seeing all over the place, these massive turnouts, is the American people who want our country back. They're tired of the worst president in the history of this country, by far, hands down. It's not even close. They want a strong guy back in the White House, and that's exactly what my father will do, and that's exactly who my father is.
You know, you look at, for example, the media. This is now one caucus, one primary in. And here you got Joe Biden. He lies and says the border's secure and the border's closed. That's not true. It's never been true since he's been president. We can see it with our own eyes. He brags about Bidenomics. 60% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck. He lies. I never once spoke to my son, my brother, or anybody about their foreign business deals, and he's up to his eyeballs in it. And yet here we have a caucus and a primary. Your dad's giving a speech, a victory speech, and fake news CNN wants to fact check him in real time. MSDNC wants to do the same after they were excoriated for not even taking a single word of your father's speech. That's NBC News. Now, what is your reaction to that part of it? Because we took your dad's speech. It was in this hour, and we ran the whole thing so people can decide for themselves. What's your reaction to how they handle this?
Well, Sean, does that shock anybody? I mean, they've been censoring my father since, the minute he went down the escalator. Anything they put out, he would censor, right? All his press conferences, they would censor. They would distort his words. They kicked him off of Twitter. They kicked him off of Instagram. I mean, any chance that they could remove a public platform for my father to use to communicate to the American people, they did. Does it surprise you that MSDNC is doing the same thing on, New Hampshire primary night? Of course not. Does it surprise you that CNN's doing the exact same thing? Again, Sean, they're petrified of my father and his message. My father's the one person who does not need this job. I talk about that all the time. His life would be exponentially better if he was at Mar-a-Lago, if he's enjoying life, if he's enjoying his grandkids. The guy wants to save this country. Our whole family wants to save this country. Our republic is going down the tubes based on pure incompetence. And you just mentioned the border a second ago. I mean, if Biden was so focused on the border, why does he have federal agents going and cutting the barbed wire to allow legal immigrants into this country? I mean, why would he be doing that, right? If he cared so much about our economy, why would he have allowed inflation to hit 10%? He could have brought down gas prices. My father had the lowest gas prices in the history of this nation. The first thing Biden did was he put a ban on the Keystone XL pipeline. He stopped all drilling. He effectively did a moratorium on oil and gas. And guess what? Inflation shot through the roof. And inflation was massively outpacing wage growth in this country, which was cramming down the ordinary people in this country. It was making their lives exponentially harder. If he cared about the economy, why would he have done that? It's reckless. This guy's policies are reckless. It's driving our country into the ground. We're not perceived as strong anywhere in the world. I mean, literally other countries around the world, we have properties in some of these countries. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at the United States of America. You have Zelensky last week that literally went to Switzerland to try and negotiate peace. Wasn't that always America's place in the world? You go to America to negotiate peace. You don't go to Switzerland. You don't go to France. You don't go to these other countries. you come to America, but we don't have that standing in the world anymore. We're losing our currency. We're losing our culture. We're losing our freedoms. We're losing our constitution. We're losing God in society. We're losing it all because we have an incompetent human being in the White House, and we need strength again. And my father will do an unbelievable job. He will get this ship back on track in about 2 seconds flat.
Let me ask you this, and I've talked to a lot of people today, and Nikki Haley's not even competing in Nevada. I'm not really sure why. Apparently, I guess she didn't file the right paperwork. Something happened. I'm not sure. But then the next state that they will compete in is her home state of South Carolina. Currently, the Real Clear Politics average has your dad up by 30 points. Is it even really worth your dad's time to engage in that part of the primary? And maybe it's time to pivot and really go after Joe Biden?
Well, listen, I think you can do both at the same time. And I thought it was funny. I was standing right behind my father last night, and she mentioned competency, yet she lost by, 30 points in the first. She came in third in Iowa. She lost decisively last night in New Hampshire. She filed the wrong paperwork, so she's not going to be on the ballot next week. So my father's going to go running away with Nevada. And then he's going to go beat her in her home state of South Carolina by a lot. And I don't think there's a single elected official in the state who's actually endorsed her, which tells you probably everything you need to know about the actual person. So I think my father can do both. I mean, he's clearly going to win Nevada. He's clearly going to win South Carolina. And I think he's going to win every single state on Super Tuesday. In fact, it's upsetting to me, Sean, because at this point, I truly believe that she's just in the race to be a spoiler. And when you see the majority of her donors are Democratic operatives or, frankly, rhinos, I mean, look at the same person who's one of her largest donors is the very guy who's funding many of the lawsuits against my father right now. So many of the things he has to stay in New York and fight every single day. Reid Hoffman. Does that surprise anybody? Does it surprise anybody that 70% of the people who voted for Nikki Haley yesterday were not Republicans? They were Democrats and some independents. I mean, Sean, at this point, I truly believe she's being paid or something to be in the race as a pure spoiler. And the party should not put up with that. We need to focus our guns on Joe Biden.
Has to win. She has to win for her to be competitive, and so far that's not going to happen. And if she can overcome a 30-point deficit in South Carolina, that would shock me. Your dad has the current governor, the sitting governor, 2 sitting senators, most of the congressional delegation, and I read somewhere a total of about 150 statewide officials that are endorsing him. Eric Trump, great to have you back, sir. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Just don't like her.
We appreciate you being with us. Thank you.